software company, you don't get the alimony. She refused to. Turns out she has a partner named Dennis Lee Montgomery. That's the name you got to remember.
Easy to remember. That's
I'll sit down with you after. I want to try to follow.
He's a very genius computer guy. What they did is they were working for the CIA. And they mask it as, I'm sure you'll remember this, the contracts with the CIA, which I had plenty of copies, said that they were decoding Al Jazeera television, said that there was broadcast embedded. Remember that?
Yeah.
Owned by Gore.
Well, Gore's got part of it now, but it's all bullshit. That was bullshit. That was a front by the CIA. And this guy worked for Brennan and Clapper. Those were the two guys running it. He started out in 2004 with another partner in Reno, Nevada, called Intrepid. They collected about $40 million for the CIA, from the CIA. Top security clearance, all kinds of letters, emails, fallout. Gets my wife in 2006. They started a new company that she owns, and they start doing the same business for the government. What it really turns out they were doing is they were hacking into all of America. Everything they said they didn't do, that Brennan said recently, and mainly Clapper, is all bullshit. And I've got it right here. So this guy, during the divorce, it was very contentious, front page Wall Street Journal and all this nonsense.
Between you and you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we accused him publicly, this Montgomery, of hacking into our attorney-client privilege because they knew too much. And we could never prove it. So we took his deposition several times. And something happened very weird. Every time we took his deposition, the head of the civil division, Carlotta Wells, of the Department of Justice would show up as CIA agents. Just show up. Every court appearance. CIA agents. Head of the civil division. I said, Jesus Christ, something's got to be wrong here. So, in 2006, when my wife got together with the guy, when he left the first company, he gets a call from a CIA guy named Joe Liberatore and says, the FBI is going to raid your house in 3 days. He's got a FISA search warrant from the FISA court. So he takes all the hard drives that he made copies of. The FBI comes in, raid him. Mike Flynn, the lawyer who was here with me, was representing the guy at the time. They go to court, federal judge says, this is bullshit, throws it out, says, there's obviously something here that we don't know about. And the government came in and imposed a state secret privilege and a protective order in Nevada, because that's where the guy lived. And so they said, anything you did as a government contractor, you can never tell. Well, they were trying to keep the guy quiet from what he really did. So we take the guy's deposition, and I get nothing out of him. The last deposition was almost 2 years ago now. Palm Desert, California, a little tiny legal office, and all these CIA agents show up with guns, and Carlotta Wells, head of the civil division, the DOJ. So what the hell are you showing up for? Well, cut and paste 2012 June. Montgomery calls me, and he goes, I want to talk to you. I said, I don't want to talk to you, you son of a bitch. Why do you want to talk to me? I said, you've been hacking into my attorneys. And he goes, I want to talk to you. He said, I've got a brain aneurysm. I'm probably not going to make it, and I need to get some things right. So I reluctantly meet him, but I give him a subpoena. We give him a friendly subpoena, so anything he gave to me was under the guise of a subpoena. He says, you guys are right. I did hack into all your stuff, and I gave it to your ex-wife and all the lawyers. And he said, there's a lot more. He said, what I really did as a government subcontractor was I hacked into all of America for Brennan and Clapper. And I said, wow, that's pretty heavy stuff. Can you prove it? So it's taken me 8 months of dancing with this guy. And finally, he starts giving more evidence, and then it just blew me away. So I called Fox News, and Carl Cameron, the reporter. Carl's been there 27 years, and I trust Carl. Carl came flying out with his film crew, and they filmed for a week in the last 30 days. The guy had aneurysm surgery in the last 3 months. He was not successful. He probably will not live. So I think what it is, he wants 10 years under, 8 years under a rock. He's tired of it. He may not live. He wants to get his life squared away. And he's pissed off at the administration. He got a death threat in writing last week. And so I said to him, when the Snowden thing came down, he starts laughing to me. He goes, Snowden is a punk. He doesn't have any information like I've got. So he starts showing me what he has. And I'm going, holy shit. He's got 900 million phone calls recorded. I mean, you call me, how long, what date, what time of day. Okay, that's one thing. They did it for the government. This is on a government computer, paid for by the government, CIA, at Fort Washington, Maryland, which is 10530 Riverview Road in Fort Washington, Maryland. Then he's got bank accounts with the passwords and the usernames that the government got, just randomly all over the country. There's 153,000 in this county alone. 153,000 people were hacked in by Brennan and Clapper. And I got all their names.
Brennan is head of the CIA now.
See,
Clapper is what?
He is DNI.
The Department of Intelligence Agency.
National Intelligence. So those are the two common factors. Now, if you go back the string, you thread the string back with Brennan. Brennan was CIA under Bush 43. He was like executive director. My ex-wife and Jack, I was on Jack Kemp's board for 10 years. Jack was a dear buddy of mine. So I was in the Republican circles. So my ex-wife asked Jack Kemp to go to Cheney to try and speed up a new government contract, which was slow. So they take her to the vice president. He says, give me a few days. Comes back and he says, we don't want any part of this. And they fire Brennan. So they must have figured something was skunky. So they fired Brennan. Brennan goes to work as the CEO of Analysis Group in Washington, D.C. They're basically ex-CIA guys that do contracting for the government. Private version of their old job. So he goes to Obama, then senator, and says, you should hire us in that analysis group if you're going to run for president. Obama does. They have tons of money, millions of dollars. And if you may not recall this, Joe, but there was a little bit of a flap about the birth certificate back then. There was an accusation that someone had gotten into the birth certificate records of Hillary Clinton, Mitt Romney, and Obama.
Hillary talked about it.
Yeah, she really raised a big deal of it. There was a young man working for Brennan at the CIA that came over to Analysis Group. And he was kind of the dirty computer kid. I don't know that, I'll tell you what I know factual and what I believe to be true. We believe that they got in and actually altered his birth certificate. Brennan did at an Analysis Group, and they had to disguise it by doing something or looking like they did something to Clinton and Romney, so it wasn't specific to Obama. Somehow this word got around in D.C., and an investigation started, and they called the kid as a witness. He got a bullet between the eyes the night before the hearing. It's all public record. So he's dead. He can't testify. So then Obama gets elected. Brennan then wants to be CIA. That was his quest in life. If you recall, he got turned down because of the waterboarding. So Obama then
waterboarding that McCain went public and said hates waterboarding. Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Always remember the McCain connection.
So, as an alternative, Obama moves then Brennan 3 doors down the White House from his office. So maybe a little quid pro quo.
Special assistant or something.
Some bullshit. So then time goes by. and then Brennan's now CIA. So let's keep the story going. So about 3 or 4 months ago, this guy's showing me 900 million phone calls. And I see myself in there. I see people I know. I mean, I see Donald Trump in there a zillion times, and Bloomberg's in there. And
Am I in there?
we're looking for you right now.
Mike Zula. That's important.
It takes a long time to go through 900 million, unless you got a hell of a computer. And so we're through about 40 million out of 900 million.
They're not on those flash drives.
No.
There's no way.
There's 3 million on this.
Mom's pretty good.
And there's bank records here.
You got the 130,000 from here on there,
I got a lot of it.
Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
Are they alphabetical?
No. What they did was, let me tell you how they did it. So you got to understand the whole story. This Montgomery was such a brilliant computer guy. He figured out that they built, and started in 2004, they built this supercomputer in Reno, Nevada. Long, far away from CIA headquarters, but they were a contractor. And it was a room, twice as big as this room, full of these massive computers that figured out how to break combinations of passwords. And so the idea was, it was very well intended. Let's go find Al-Qaeda's websites. Let's see if we can crack their password and save America. That's all great. It worked really well. So they could process about, at those days, maybe 10 million combinations a minute of your password off your computer. Well, 10 million a minute, pretty soon you start, the numbers click up and it works. Mm-hmm. So what they really did was they started going to all the terrorist websites in 2004, and they started reading their mail. And that was really great for America. Then when he left in late 2005, early 2006, and hooked up with my wife, ex-wife, they started it again, but they started in Bellevue, Washington, where they both lived. And then in 2009, the CIA came back to my ex-wife and to Montgomery and said, look, we want to do this the right way. What will it take? He said it's going to take about $5 million worth of computers. And they said, okay, we got a place called Fort Washington, Maryland. It's disguised as a naval research center, but it's the CIA cyber headquarters in the world. So they said, you got to come back there and build it. You have to be there for a year. So Montgomery goes back there, and he builds what they call the hammer. And that's what the government nicknamed the hammer. And it's so goddamn powerful, it does 1 billion combinations a minute of passwords. So it's working great, and they're going after this terrorist, and Abdullah this, and Mohammed that. So Clapper at that time was the guy running it, because Britain had gone off to analysis, but they're like this. So he walks in one day and he says, look, Dennis, we got a guy at Citi, we think he got a Citibank bank account. His name is, Omar or whatever. Can you get into Citibank's mainframe? Can you sneak in there and look for this guy without getting caught? Because there's no FISA court order. He gets in there, gets the guy's stuff, and they say, shit, this is great. So then about a month later, he's got another 30 names. They go into Citigroup and say, hey, here's 30 more names. Works. Then they come back and say, look, why don't we, at the risk of getting caught by their detection system, why don't you download every customer that Citibank has and all their financial information? That way we got it. And he did. Then they went to Spread for Verizon, AT&T, to all their switches, got in at night. What Montgomery did, the programming he invented, he would go into figure out their passwords and some of their security codes. He would then get into the mainframe and they'd shut off their detection device. So they could be in there for maybe an hour. And then they'd get out. So they wholesale across America. Everything that Clapper just said last Thursday they didn't do in front of the Senate and the House, he said all we got was phone calls. Well, I got financial records from Phoenix, Arizona with passwords and PIN numbers. That's more than phone calls. credit cards, credit card numbers. And then they asked Montgomery, they said, look, we want you to go into the Florida voter registration computer. I want you to download it. Can you do that? I'll try. It goes in, gets all the voter registration. They say, I want you to burn it on some CDs, give it to Clapper. Does it? Doesn't think anything about it. A couple weeks go by, and they come back with a new disc. And they say, upload this tonight on the Florida voter computer. So I kept thinking, what? They must be altering people's registration or something to help with the next election. But Carl Cameron figured it out because he went and checked. There was a big redistricting down in Florida that was advantaged Democrats. And he's going to report when the story breaks from Fox because he's got the voter registration records now. So then after Snowden comes out, Obama comes out on, I think, August 9th this year. And he said Snowden's been charged with 3 felonies. If he had followed the whistleblower protocol and come to us, he wouldn't be in trouble. So we're going to make that son of a bitch eat those words. So I had Montgomery, he filed 18 whistleblower complaints with the Inspector General of the Air Force, Inspector General of the CIA, the Inspector General of the United States, Holder. He sent an actual letter to Obama and to his private fax number, and how the hell he got it, I don't know. Carl Cameron confirmed that it was Obama's fax number. So he's got rejected 18 times. I have all the whistleblower complaints and rejections here. So he did the right thing. He said, hey, I'm an American, I'm not leaving the country. I work for the CIA. I went in for the government unauthorized, and I got all this financial information that's a violation of the 4th Amendment. And this needs to be told. They rejected it over and over and over. So that kind of leads to why I'm here. We started looking around your county, and I said, I know one guy's probably got the guts to do something about this. And so we started looking specifically at Maricopa. And at first there was 18,000, and Jesus Christ, it's all over the landscape. I think the last count was 153,400 and climbing. So there's all kinds of victims in here that without one court order, no FISA, no regular court, they went in and they hacked into your citizens at every county in America, basically. And they got their financial records. They didn't get financial records on everybody because they didn't, it was kind of hit and miss. Maybe if they got in there and you happened to be making a deposit or something that day, they got your records the day they were in. So the guy really needs immunity because he got a death threat on his website last week, and it was real. I got it here. It's very specific, and I sent it over to Carl Cameron, and he goes, "Well, this is the whole ball game for Brennan and Clapper, and if you take Brennan and Clapper down, you're going to really knock the hell out of Obama. I mean, this thing is a lot bigger than just 2 top government guys, I think. You got voter registration records and all kinds of stuff. So this came in on his website right there last week.
You're the trick guy, we used to. In fact, I got one today myself. We're experts at this shit. Kind of nebulous, or you'll die.
So,
where's this guy live?
Seattle.
And he's one of your.
Even better would be the state, all the state of Arizona. But they could use what's called the fruit of the poisonous tree. That means when the feds try to indict him, which they will, is they're going to say, the defense is, hey, I got immunity in Arizona, and that evidence would have never come out if I hadn't got immunity.
Don't count on Arizona. There ain't no attorney general whether they had the balls. They don't even want to hear the word of
Come on, Chicago.
the petition.
That IP address comes out of Chicago.
How about the district attorney in this county?
Is this a civil thing or criminal?
Oh shit, criminal.
Well,
I'm sorry, Patrice?
I got a couple of questions for you. And this is obviously, and I want to understand you first so I can understand this. Obviously, what did you do for a living to make all your money? Because obviously, if your wife goes ahead and buys in this company for $25 million, you guys obviously made your money somehow. How did you be
Real estate.
real estate? So you're a real estate guy. You and your wife were together for a long time, and then
25 years.
you guys decide to get divorced, and she goes to this computer route.
Mm-hmm.
How did she ever know this guy?
She met him through an acquaintance who knew an acquaintance, and she was looking for some big home run to be the star of the show instead of being second fiddle.
Okay.
She was a blazing alcoholic and just a crazy person.
And obviously, you made enough money so she could just throw $25 million at this thing and go with it.
I made about $1.3 billion.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm just I'm just
see.
no. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I made
Because
about-
$25 million is a lot of money just to
I
throw at a
made-
project that you don't know whether you're going to survive or
Yeah,
not.
I made about $1 billion on one deal.
Okay. Who else has talked to this guy that has had this brain tumor or brain aneurysm? Like seriously, has anyone, like obviously you've sat down and talked to him, but has anyone really sat down with him and got him on tape, got him on video, got his statements written down somewhere?
Yeah, Fox was there for a week.
Oh, so Fox has it all.
It's all video.
Okay. So
And
Fox-
they've filmed, the computer's running, which is, I'll show you, I was there for a little bit of the filming. This is where it starts. That's Carl Cameron from Fox. And that's the guy. And they start that'll be on the news. And he's got a little mini tiny bank of computers that he's processing all this stuff. It takes a hell of a long time with just those small computers. And
Is he filming you or?
no, he's filming Montgomery.
Oh my God.
And so it's Fox News' #1 priority to break this. So
when are they going to break it, and what's their, I mean, I don't want to say what's their motive, but as soon as they break the story, realistically, we all know, seems like Obama just holder skates every single time because no one wants to do anything about anything. And this is all great stuff, but yet again, how do you see, I mean, they must already have a plan. If he's going ahead and filing 18 complaints, and every single one is shutting them down, they've already had a meeting, and they've already thought about how they're going to approach the issue, because
Sure.
their best offense is a good defense.
they're gonna, what happened when they raided Montgomery's house and didn't get the hard drives that have all this information on it in '06, they started shattering him. Everywhere he went, any legal appearances or depositions, like I said, they always showed up. So what they did is they planted 2 stories, real horrible negative stories on the guy, full-page New York Times,
Okay.
that said he was a con man and he conned the U.S. government out of these contracts on Al Jazeera. But it's very interesting. 2 things happened. 1, they never made an example out of him or arrested him. 2, they hired him back. So why the hell, if you're on the front page of the New York Times, a full-page article saying that you're a con man, you con the government out of tens of millions, why would they hire you back in '09? Because that's what they do. So I think they're going to rely, I'm sure they're going to rely on 2 negative articles and say, look at this. New York Times says the guy's a con man. Or they're going to say this, okay, he did work for us because I have all of his documents, his contracts, but he did it rogue. At night, he was working late, and he did it rogue.
With no direction from anyone at the CIA at that time.
You still going tonight? You still going? Okay.
The only problem with that,
I gotta go.
the only problem with that is that I've got emails here about Brennan and
I
Clapper,
gotta pick her up at 4.
and he's got all the emails that they knew about it.
Did you know if those emails were passed to Fox?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, on your flash drives that you have now, do you have any of those that you could bring up that we could see?
I didn't bring my laptop. I wish to.
We're trying to look at a laptop up here, it's like gold. You can't find. Can we? We get a laptop, we can bring them
It
up.
could be a desktop with a tower.
No, it'd probably be easier on a laptop anyway.
You know, if you look at,
What do you think, I mean, you've lived this thing for a while now, so how do you see this thing playing out?
well,
I mean, realistically, you know,
here's one scenario. Right after Fox News is going to interview people in this county, specifically this county, at my request.
okay,
They're gonna call and they're gonna say, hey, Sam Smith, is this your login and bank information number at Wells Fargo on Camelback Road? Well, yeah, how'd you get that? Thank you. And I'm gonna do that to confirm several things. I'll do that this week.
okay,
Then they're gonna call Brennan Clapper and say, okay, boys, this story's gonna break. What do you gotta say about it? As I see it playing out, you've got 153,000 victims in your county of a federal, I think it's a federal crime. Probably state.
Multiple crimes.
Multiple crimes.
you can do it however you want to do it.
You got a guy who's willing to come down here for a grand jury, present all the evidence, and say who done it, but he doesn't want to he wants immunity of some sort.
Here, I mean, the
You
only,
could indict Brennan and Clapper, probably.
I can't indict anybody
Well, you could maybe help.
because that's a prosecutor grand jury. That's why I'm having trouble with the birth certificate.
All right?
Nobody, this sort of has a little interlink with the birth certificate.
It does.
the way,
So my problem on the birth certificate is getting somebody to do the goddamn thing. Nobody would touch it. And we have the evidence. But we haven't given up yet.
Wait
on the birth
till the
certificate.
Fox piece breaks.
and I think this is the way my mind thinks, Sheriff. I mean, with this case, if we could prove that we have victims here, unlike the birth certificate case, the birth certificate case, the problem we've always had from the beginning is jurisdictional.
Never been a problem. Never been a problem. They never went after me on that. Because they know we have jurisdiction because he put that.
He put it on
there.
here, but
Yeah.
but see,
Everywhere.
the difference between Obama and this one are these actual victims. You put a list together of, just say 200,
Targeted victims.
Yeah.
200 victims,
Yeah, I know.
200 victims in Maricopa County.
Yeah.
The problem is the biggest problem we're gonna have is obviously, and here's the other issue is, the best witness is probably gonna be dead here in the next, 3 to 6 months? I mean, realistically, I mean,
He was in ER the last 2 weeks, every week. I don't know, a guy could die tonight.
yeah, so
But you have statements from him?
We have a video
well,
deposition.
Fox does, but the
Fox-
problem with that is
We've got-
Fox is never gonna release it to us.
We've got 4 sworn affidavits on the guy too.
Okay.
Where's the guy live?
Seattle. We have 4 sworn affidavits.
So here's what I would suggest. When you talk to Fox, we got good relations with Fox, although they refuse to touch the birth certificate. They got their orders from above. Hannity, you know that. You do know that. I'm a little surprised, but this isn't the birth certificate, why they have an interest in it, because it's the,
I'll tell you why,
it's
Sheriff.
all that shit being released.
I'll tell you why, Sheriff.
Yeah.
Because they went after James Rosen, their chief White House correspondent. They remember that recently. They went after that, and Cameron told me yesterday. I was talking to him. He said Roger Ailes is so pissed off now. He said he will bring down Obama at any cost. I said, well, that's the right attitude.
No, he's the owner, the Fox guy.
CEO of Fox,
Yeah.
Roger Ailes.
Of course, the other guy in England still owns.
Rupert Murdoch.
Rupert. But Roger calls the shots at Fox.
So, as you do just some quick research, before Fox does the story, okay, they know me.
I know.
So maybe the guy should say, we've gone to the sheriff, who actually worked on this somewhat has some relation with the birth certificate, and he's gonna look into this. I mean, you can't do it now, you can't solve the thing in 2 weeks before Fox does the story.
No.
If you laid the groundwork You come, no, you're not involved in this. So you can't even say you talked to me, right? Because,
I don't know why I can't.
have you talked to Fox about that?
Me?
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, you have talked, not the other guy. I thought they talked to
No, they
the.
talked-
They did both. Montgomery, they got on
In
video.
fact, Carl Cameron's standing by. If we wanted to call him, he'd
Oh,
talk
so
to us
you,
right now.
so you've talked already about this
Sure.
with Fox.
Oh, yeah.
So it's no secret that you're.
When,
I helped engineer it.
when are they planning on doing the story?
Carl told me yesterday, days, not weeks.
See, that's the problem. We gotta make that decision.
But you could come out, and back to your question, Brian, about what do I see playing out?
I just, you know what, this is the reason why I ask it, because, I mean, my biggest thing is obviously, I don't know the newspapers and the media like you guys know it. My number one thing is obviously to try to protect the sheriff. Because you know the media, how they do things. I'm thinking of it as a way, like, I have the investigative mind. I see how we could work this in our favor as far as the investigative standpoint goes. But obviously, a lot's going to depend on what the time frame is until it gets out to everyone. Does that make any sense?
It does. But back to kind of finish my answer, was if you got 150,000 victims here in this state, that's county, I mean, they're random across the board. Rich, poor, white, black, Hispanic, they're all in
Great
there.
to see if I wanted to. Wouldn't surprise me.
Wouldn't
Huh?
I wouldn't,
You.
both of our phone numbers, watch.
Yeah, how come
Well,
we?
I'm sure mine's there too.
They're gonna, yours is
What do you
there
mean, Our
too.
phone numbers are in there?
Well, no, they're not in this. This is only about 3 million. You're not in this 3 million, I checked last night, but we got another 840 million phone calls to go through. So,
Watch,
Be great for it.
watch, has to be.
Watch, of course.
Has to.
I'm in 6 times just already.
I could be in there.
You could be, yeah.
Okay, where is your telephone?
I'm like a cancer.
Here we go. Angela.
Yeah, I know. That's why.
You're mobbed up, that's why.
You know how to work this shit?
She knows, it's gotta load up.
Gotta load up.
What's it saying up there?
His computer is in use and has been locked. Well,
Oh, jeez, that's Brandon. Let me
You
get Brandon's-
stupid.
Brandon.
Oh, shit. I don't even have computers.
so how many do you think are in Maricopa County? 140,000?
No, 153,400 we know of.
Now,
Counting.
are those bank accounts or those calls or those combined?
Combination. There's 100 in the main database. So they use the phone records to be the basis and nexus for the database. Once they got the phone records, then they went to the banks with the same names.
Because that's how they're spinning it out. That makes sense.
Thank you.
That makes a lot more sense.
You're kind of an expert at this shit, aren't you?
Not an expert, but I can understand what he's saying. They would go through the phones first, because that's how they got into
He's
the
a big
banks.
expert.
Almost to your rank.
All right.
That would
Thanks,
make
Brandon.
sense.
All right, let's get the thumb drive up. Where is it?
I went to a computer hacking course on top of that too.
You good?
Yeah, but it was nothing like the way they did things.
Okay, let me see it.
The thumb drive's not showing up.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, it takes some.
we'll show up. We have to open it.
Okay.
Let's go. Where's my computer here?
Right there, I think.
Oh,
It's not even coming up.
it's not recognized.
Yeah, let's put it over here on one of these.
Maybe it's the wrong port.
Because it'll,
It's like a tape.
No, this is-
think of it as a miniature CD disc all compiled, you plug it.
You can hold tons of shit.
So it should come up, should pop up
Okay,
if it
it should
recognizes
say
it.
Patriot.
Yeah, it's not coming up yet.
That should come up this time.
You can close it and go back into it because it might not recognize. It's still not bad enough.
No.
Okay.
I wonder if they're corrupted.
No.
No.
All right, let's try another one. This is the one that's got everything on it. We're not doing something right with this computer.
No, we're doing it right.
It's not picking it up, though.
Yeah, it's not picking it up.
Oh.
All right, well, he's got a tablet. This is not working, obviously.
So what is the fraud charge?
Here's, I mean, as far as we would be concerned, this is,
See this? Okay, that's what's on the drive. You see these names? Jeff Larson, Wells Fargo, Lakewood, Colorado, zip code, phone number, the date it was harvested, his password. There's 900 million of those. I mean, all across America. And so, here's what I was thinking. That's the reason I came down to see you guys. You and Jason's birth certificate thing and not getting much traction. Like you said, you can't get anybody with balls to step up. This is a pretty easy one. It's a lot easier, but it crawls into the.
Excuse me, Brandon's gonna hook it up. I've gotta go take care of that.
How can we
errand I
get
have to
this?
do.
So Windows 8 tablet, so just put
Hey,
it in here.
they'll keep you posted on the
see if it comes later. It
demonstration.
wasn't,
Yeah, here's the latest one they just.
it wasn't coming up.
Yeah, because I disabled the ports on
Oh.
that one, I just now remembered.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
This one doesn't have any
Separate port.
disabled, here you go.
They're numbering
Okay.
3 to 350 now outside.
So if I
According
hit
to PPD, event is over and they anticipate custodies. Although there are no indications to that effect. Transportation's been contacted.
How do-
Probably,
East and West jail vans
What are you looking to do?
available.
I'm looking fine.
Page holding
is there a
16,
fine?
but those drivers are
Fund to
CDL holders, so we do have resources.
Double
When these guys gonna put that out?
Okay, then I want to go.
Who's working on it? Isn't it James?
See what
I
it's
already
fine,
signed off on
you
it.
can search Flint just by typing there, and then a keyword will pop up.
Well, I want to go like, let's say to the harvest. Oops, excuse me, harvest. And then, that's all. Let's go back. Let's go to harvest. Let's go to banks. Banks part 2. Okay.
There's so much info on that thing.
It's sucking it out though.
It's a big file.
Yeah,
Just take
it's
that.
huge.
It's
Huge.
So, while we're waiting, here we go. Here we go. Okay, look at this. Now, there's got to be a way to search this, right?
Well, it all depends. It looks like it's on a Word file, so
It's in
fine,
PDF.
searchable.
Yeah, you know what that guy is?
Is that PDF?
The
That's PDF.
You know what that guy is? That's the head of the FISA court they hacked into. Reggie Walton.
Get the hell out of here.
He's the head of the FISA court. And John Roberts, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, was hacked. So how do we, can you know the laptop that was here?
Mm-hmm.
Can you enable that?
Or do we have a regular computer, just with a tower?
We don't want to put these in
You don't
the
wanna put
regular
them on?
computer.
Yeah, I can't enable
This is
the
off the
USB
network,
ports because I
right?
had to delete the drivers on it.
Okay. This is off the network, right?
This is off network.
Okay, how do I get back to,
Just flick it that way.
okay, so, let's see, part 2.
Double click. I'm sorry.
Okay, do a load, hold on. Oops. So, back, keeping on with the idea. You got all these victims in this county. Right, you can
Brandon,
Sure.
maybe because he's the expert on it.
He knows computers too.
So I don't want to call our computer crimes and all this shit. I want to keep this very quiet. So you keep this shit, this is top secret.
10-4.
Or you end up with a bullet in your brain. Who did they kill?
Some guy did the birth certificate.
birth certificate, Bill.
They killed, wait a minute, which guy did they put a hole in his?
No, the guy that worked
They
for
shot
Brennan that was subpoenaed the night before he was supposed to go before Congress and talk about the birth certificate. They killed him.
When this happened?
Don't worry about it. All my affidavits are
I'll
going
get
to
you the
say,
article. I
Lieutenant
guess they said it was a random street killing.
Brandon Jones.
You wanna-
Explain it.
I can say whatever you need me to do, boss. Whatever you need me to do.
We're all Brandon Jones.
We're all Brandon Jones.
That's a nice name, Brandon Jones.
That's
kind of
good.
CIA type.
Gonna go back hack all the newspaper clippings. I'm Brandon Jones posse guy.
So, while this is booting up here, let's say you got thousands of victims and this clear victims here, and you can pick up the phone as an investigator and say, you see, you're Bank of America, here's your account number, your login number, is that you? And they say, yeah, how the hell did you get that, detective? Well, you tell or you don't tell them. There's thousands of them here, 153,400.
Could this be construed as ID theft?
Yeah, that's what it is.
What are experts at that?
Well, here's the problem is, I would have to look at the statute, but what did they, the problem's gonna be is we're gonna have to prove what the intent was to get the information in the first place. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, I got your information, but if I never use it, then is it really against the law to obtain your information if I never used it?
Violation of Fourth Amendment rights. Oh, landscape.
I don't know what your statutes are, but you have to have a private industry that has its own computer system is breached now at the direction of a federal government agency. That information is secured. The public is under the belief this is all encrypted information and is supposed to be safeguarded.
Should be.
Right? So there has to be, I don't know what your statutes are, but there's got to be something in there, Brian.
Oh, I'm sure, I mean, there's I'm sure there's a ton of laws against it. I mean, I just have to sit down and look at
Well, the sexy part, obviously, is
the
it's the
law,
government.
but
It's the government.
Paying a guy. This guy
They
made
pay the guy
millions.
millions of dollars.
But back up to that, Sheriff, if we wanted to do it the right way, the first thing before anything else needs to happen is someone needs a cop, a law enforcement officer needs to sit down with the guy in Seattle
Yeah.
for probably days and just go from point A to point B.
Right.
Because without that, all the rest of this is garbage.
Right.
Because the problem is you have to have the way the case is going to be put forth is this guy is the one bringing forth the information that this is what he did on behalf of the government
Right.
or paid by the government, and this is what happened. Because realistically, and here's the good thing, here's the bad thing. The good thing is that by his statements, he corroborates all the evidence, obviously, but it's him the one that's giving the evidence, but obviously he corroborates everything, and law enforcement would have no idea if it wasn't for his statements.
Right.
He'll be there.
The hard part, I think, is going to be, I mean, not really hard, but identifying the victims. We're going to identify them through
You know who
here,
the victims are.
but it's going to be very time consuming to go
How
ahead.
many do you
and-
need? 10, 20?
Well, no. I mean, you just need a small sample, but the more you have, the better, obviously. And I guess
Fox is gonna
you would have
confirm
to
that.
figure out how you want to.
Fox is gonna, at my request, they're gonna come to this county and hone in on this county and on their show, they're gonna say, this person confirmed this in Phoenix and Scottsdale, and they'll probably go to, Little Rock, Arkansas, and New York, or around the country, but they're gonna include Maricopa.
I mean, I think it's definitely it's a lot easier than the birth certificate.
First of all,
I mean,
this-
the problem with the birth certificate always was.
But it's tied
the
in,
problem,
Brian.
no one would ever take a look at that.
Brian, it's tied in.
No, I agree with you, but as far as I was investigating it,
You think
I would never tie. I would never
think
tie.
anybody's going to look at this? It'll be 50 years before if the feds get in. This is a federal thing more than a state.
It is. Here's the thing though, and this is just my mind. If we were to do this, and Fox National goes ahead and breaks the story, they come to you and you can say, you know what, I'm already investigating this
Because let me tell you, I'm not making this shit up. He's here. We're getting information, just like the birth certificate, they came here. So
Right.
there is nothing I'm stimulating. Somebody comes to me, and we're going to look at it.
No, I understand what Brian's saying, though.
But here's the
I understand
thing,
what you're saying.
Sheriff. If you can say, you know what, yeah, we received the information and we're currently doing an investigation, and realistically, if your guy up in Seattle has never been talked to by, I mean, he's been talked to a reporter.
Never talked to law enforcement.
Just like the birth certificate was done.
But no, this is a lot better than.
No, I mean, nobody went after the birth certificate.
But Sheriff, how my idea, talking to Mike on this, my call was, it does tie into the birth certificate.
It does, but see,
And that's
my
what we're
mind.
gonna say.
And who knows, maybe we can thread that
We
straight.
came up with this through the birth certificate investigation. Right.
You know what?
Well, that's how it
That's
came in.
how-
I came in here 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You know-
So we didn't just make this up now.
The way that the way that I mean, this is just my own 2 cents though, and my own personal thing as far as investigator goes, nothing, I would approach it with, this has nothing to do with the birth certificate investigation at all. It has to do with
Citizens of this county.
150,000 people that got their identity stolen in Maricopa County.
But we came
And
up
then
with
you
it
can-
through the birth certificate.
And that's, you
It has
can,
nothing to do
exactly,
with
you can.
It's got,
Whatever
the
we want.
investigation's got nothing
But
to
the
do with it.
investigation part, this is nothing.
Let me pick-
Because as far as I'm concerned,
Because let me
I'm
talk-
gonna stay as
Yeah,
far away
have to.
You're
as.
talking about as an investigator, I'm talking about other things. This may stimulate the birth certificate thing too,
Right.
which they won't touch.
Right.
You get the point?
Hey guys, let's just do a timeout.
Yeah.
Let's call Carl Cameron. He's got this is a secured phone. I want to put him
Call
on
who?
Carl Cameron from Fox. I want you guys to hear when I say I'm with the sheriff, and we'll ask him what his story and all that stuff. Just you guys.
Well, you can confirm that you're here, talking to me. You are.
Right.
Brian, if you get this guy on video and he vapor locks,
The problem, we've already done this whole fucking video thing.
Tim.
All these Fox, all these news stations,
Tim Blix that.
they don't have to give us any footage.
no, if you did it, and this guy drops dead, aren't we done anyway?
As far as prosecution goes, but at the end of the day, is that what we're all, I mean,
No.
But if he
he wants
drops
an
dead,
immunity.
he drops dead, you get 4 signed affidavits. And you could do.
Hi, it's Carl. You can leave a message.
This guy wants an immunity deal. He doesn't want to get prosecuted for doing this here.
yeah, but first thing out of my mouth.
You can't.
I can't.
I know.
You gotta want to do this for the right reasons, and if that's what you want to do, it's great.
Hey Carl, it's Tim. I'm here with Sheriff Arpaio.
Hi, Tim. My
Carl.
favorite stage.
Carl.
Hey, Carl. I was thinking of Hannity, my favorite Fox. This is Sheriff Joe Arpaio. I know you never heard of me, but I'm here in Phoenix talking to
Tim. All right, so we tried to call you. Hit me with an email if you get off a phone call or something. We're kind of coordinating things, talking about the county here and when your story's going to break and all that stuff. Thanks, Carl.
So maybe this may generate some interest with Congress and all that. This thing.
Well, Trump's name is all over this, right? They have to.
Trump is a double agent anyway.
Right.
But we got John Roberts, Chief Justice of the United States, was hacked. Get the FISA court.
Hacked.
Well, he's saying hacked. His information was,
That's what it is, hacked.
his information was obtained through illegal means realistically, if he didn't give him permission.
Let me tell you what, I've read the Patriot Act front and back the last 2 months. The Patriot Act says specifically that the United States of America waives sovereign immunity if these kind of records are taken without a court order.
Under
It
the
spells
FISA.
it out. Under FISA court, if they don't go to FISA, and they never went to FISA for 900 million phone calls.
Tim, he tried to pump you, see how much you're worth, but forget the
Well, you just Google me.
All I want to know.
No, that's my investigative mind, Tim.
No, that's his job. All I want to know is, do you have like 20,000 you can spare to hire a lawyer to help you and help us? Do you know any lawyers?
I brought one last time.
Yeah, but does he know this shit? Are you
knows
getting some advice from lawyers?
Sure.
You are?
Yeah.
So everybody stays out of trouble?
Well, they'll probably try
I
to,
can't go to any lawyers now.
they'll probably try to indict me.
Indict you for what?
Aiding and abetting the national security. I mean, they'll try all kinds of horse shit. I don't care. Now let me just share. This is a secure phone. Let me share something that Montgomery dropped a bomb on me 2 days ago, and Carl. It's like, holy shit. I wish he hadn't told me this. So he's telling me the last year all about these bank records that they illegally hacked into, and all the credit cards and all these phone calls. And I always felt there was something else. There was some reason that the CIA and Carlotta Wells, who's head of the Civil Division of the DOJ.
She ran I think she was about in our DOJ investigation.
Sure she.
And then she divorced herself, and the other guy, this now Labor Department, Perez.
There was two of them. There was
She started this shit.
Carlotta Wells
Yeah,
and
that's
Rafael
right.
Gomez.
Well, Carla was my gal for a while.
Well, let me tell you something. Carlotta Wells knows about this. She was part of this shit. She knows what they did. That's why they had her shadowing Montgomery. So anyway, so 2 days ago, I said to Montgomery, I said, Dennis, you told me everything. You told Fox News everything.
Well, he's gonna keep an ace in the hole. He has to.
And he said, no.
Of course.
I said, well, tell me what it is you haven't told me. He said, you really want to know? And I said, yeah, I do. And I said, but don't show me. You can tell me, you could lie, it could be a lie, so I'm not complicit with breaking some law. Carl Cameron says, no, fuck it. He said, send it to me at Fox. He said, we're willing to take on the First Amendment battle with the administration. So he sends it to Fox. And then he tells me, Montgomery tells me, I go, oh, Jesus Christ. This is what they've been hiding. While he was at Fort Washington, Maryland, starting 9 and 10.
The undercover naval yard.
Yeah, at Riverview Drive. They hacked into every embassy of a foreign country in the United States.
And we've had smoke on that. That's come out.
But smoke, but nobody's had their something's called crypto keys. And the crypto key is how that ambassador communicates with his country. Their crypto keys are in there. Their bank records are in there. Can you imagine the international shitstorm that would happen? People talk about it, we all read it in novels, but nobody said, hey, like the president of Mexico is so pissed off right now because it came out a month ago that they were getting information on him. You imagine a country, how many embassies? I bet there'd be, Carl thinks there might be 10, 15 embassies say, we're out of the country, screw it.
Tim, does Carl he's got those crypto keys?
Carl doesn't know if he's going to break that part of the story because he says, I'm not sure that it could really hurt America.
Well, let me ask you, what's the relationship between him and him and your wife now? Because they were partners, right?
They were partners until June of 12.
Okay, and why did that partnership break up? And what does your wife think is going on right now? Because obviously, she's probably, you don't talk to her at all.
Was she part of this though?
She knew it was her company.
Her company.
Now, if you guys, you don't remember this, Sheriff, but I'll just bring it back up. I may not have told you when I was here last. When Montgomery was hacking into my lawyers and my emails to help her during the divorce.
But he was on the other
He was
side.
on the other side. He hacked into Eric Holder and Lanny Brewer's emails. Because my ex-wife, I went to the feds about 3 years ago because my ex-wife really tried to screw me over, and they got a grand jury, a 2-year investigation with the IRS, the FBI. They got a grand jury. They get a target letter. So they say, lady, you could be charged under USC, this. And Brian O'Neill was the Secret Service lead investigator, good guy. I talked to him 35 times. We supplied evidence to him. He calls me and he goes, it's over. I said, what the hell are you talking about? He said, Washington, D.C. just canceled the grand jury and pulled the plug on this case after serving the target letter on her. I said, shit, that's got to be Lanny Brewer. Because Lanny Brewer is tied in with my ex-wife in that group. Well, Montgomery had hacked into Brewer's emails. And it says, I almost brought it, it says, this is going to Ron Burkle. And Ron Burkle is a big Safeway guy, multi-billionaire. He's the biggest Democratic bundler in the United States. He was Hillary Clinton's campaign manager in California. He's on that team. So Burkle and my ex-wife are in business. And having an indictment of my ex-wife a year and a half ago would not have been good for that business. They could have lost a couple $100 million. So the letter says, Burkle sends an email to Brewer, while Brewer is head of criminal division, and says, this thing with Blixus getting out of hand, the investigation, and Lanny answers back. The investigation is going to go nowhere. I've talked to Eric about this, Holder, and anything will be killed before it gets legs. Lanny. And P.S., we've talked to the judge. So Brewer's gone back to Covington, but he's not forgotten in my, because I got my sight on that son of a bitch, and also on Holder. At some point in time, when this guy gets immunity, he's going to cough up all of the Eric Holder and Lenny Brewer emails.
The problem is I don't ever see that happening. I don't see anyone in the United States giving him immunity as long as this administration is here.
But we don't need the administration to approve. We don't want federal immunity for him. If it's with a city dog catcher, as long as there's one form of immunity.
But the problem is that okay, we give him immunity here, and I've never even heard of that being done. All the feds are going to do is indict him and then extradite him out of the county custody into the federal custody.
Yeah, but the lawyers, the big-time lawyers that are working, and they're working free on this, say because of the fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine in our legal system, which I explained earlier, that it's almost impossible for the feds to prove the case. Because they got immunity, that's why he coughed up the information. So whether they're right, whether they're wrong, I'm not a lawyer, I don't know.
So on the extreme, say for example that you wrote me a letter with a whole bunch of all this shit, and then I would have to decide to do with that information.
Yeah,
you either have to decide, do I give it to the FBI, do I give it to the feds, do I look into it myself, is there more federal involvement than anything else? A stupid question, but you can give me a stupid answer. Who would I write?
It's easy for me to do.
Who would I write to forward this information on if we didn't want to do it? Who do I write to?
Well, if I wrote you the letter, it's about citizens in your county.
Or if we looked into it and then we came up with evidence and we can't get anything done local and state, the other alternative would be the Fed.
Yeah, but just like the fox in the hen house. It's like the fox in the hen house.
Okay, but who would you suggest I write?
Eric Holder?
Attorney General?
I would...
the new FBI director?
New FBI director? John McCain?
Oh, come on.
I'm just asking for stupid names.
McCain? Are you kidding? He hates my ass and he's behind all this shit. Come on.
You asked for suggestions.
Would never.
Can I ask a question?
That's like dumping. No.
Dumb question here. This guy is going to go on
agency,
Fox.
not the senator.
He's looking for immunity. He's going to give himself up.
I mean, John McCain is not going to.
What the hell kind of immunity could you get?
Yeah, but whatever he says to Fox is going to...
No,
He can say whatever he wants to Fox.
He's the one that went
Fox
public
does the story.
out to me on the birth certificate. Did you know
There's no investigation, so realistically, there's no reason to give him immunity for anything, because all he's doing is running his mouth.
He's just going to run his
Doing
mouth.
The problem is when he's going to want immunity is when he is going to...
known John
If
for
we get
many
involved in a
years.
criminal investigation, he gives us evidence
Right.
to go ahead and prosecute somebody else.
Right.
What they're going to say is he stole the information, because that's like, that's their defense. Hey, you know what, this guy, he had a legitimate CIA contract with us, but we had absolutely no idea he was doing this. The only thing that's going to save him is the emails going back and forth and whatever. And things we can corroborate those statements with.
We got 50 or 100 emails that lay out with the government CIA agents the data mining, data harvesting, that lays it out.
And see, that's where some attorney's gonna have to come in and say, okay, well, he provided us that information for us to be able to go ahead and investigate this, even though that might have been in violation of the contract he had with the CIA.
Right.
Then that's where he's gonna get caught in jam. Because we're gonna need the information as far as our criminal investigations go. And that's where he's thinking immunity, because as soon as he gives that up, then that's when the feds are going to want to stick it up his ass.
See, I went to Daryl Issa. You know Daryl is?
No, I don't.
Daryl's
from California?
Yeah, he's the chairman of the Ways and Means.
No, judicial investigate. He hasn't done shit with iBursa.
So I went to Issa and I said, Daryl, I gave him a little bit of a flavor of this. He said, look, the best immunity the guy can get is going public.
He can, and I agree with that wholeheartedly, because I think as long as 10 has it, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, you saw what happened, okay, even with the Snowden thing. Small potatoes, but did you see how many people came to his aid and said, you know what?
Well, the
this
other
is-
thing that I'm
this is
thinking,
bullshit.
right, but here's
The
the other
government's
thing that I'm
fucked up.
thinking with this guy. Yeah,
Go ahead, I'm bringing Cameron again.
he's worried about immunity, but he's got a very short lifespan left on this earth. So prosecuting him is going
He
to be
doesn't
way...
care, he's pissed off.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
and
but...
he wants-
Hey, Carl. Hey, it's Tim.
So you're...
Hi, Tim, how are you?
I'm with Sheriff Joe.
Got to start with that fucking birth certificate.
Hey, Tim,
Yeah, listen, I'm still at work here. I can't really talk. I got a little bit more work to do. Can I call you back in an hour?
Probably gonna be done
and
by
I
then.
won't be around, but anyway, the only thing I have, Tim is here, and he's running by some situations
I just,
you know about.
I was just confirming, you're all over the story, you're up on the speed, and you're,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm waiting. As you know, I'm waiting for Dennis, and he sent me a couple of emails today, but I haven't really seen the final last batch of stuff. But yeah, we're moving forward. Tell him I'm looking forward to talking to him once I get things wrapped up with our guy.
so you'll call Sheriff here at some point in time and discuss it with him.
Oh, sure. But I can't right now, Tim. I'm
No, I understand.
right now.
Go back to work.
All right, cool.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.
Probably in time.
Nobody on the big story says he's on something else.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen, this will never play.
I don't think so. I think you're wrong, Joe.
Okay, let's see.
He spent a week out there.
He takes his orders too.
They squashed it before. I did tell them that we went
Takes
through
orders
that.
too. Don't-
Yeah, but
We've been through this shit.
I've talked to Carl 30 times.
So what?
And most of the time, he's always, when he's working and trying to get a story out, he says to me,
Okay.
hey, I'm doing a story.
Okay, he's still gotta he's got all this shit, but he's gotta get approved.
Let's just say for a moment in time that he does come out with a story.
The only thing I'm gonna say, if he calls, you came to see me, we looked at the birth certificate, we're looking into it. That's all I can say.
But would you even really have to use my name? You say an individual came with
I'm not gonna
information?
use your name.
Right.
I got a complaint, just like we did with the birth certificate, we're looking into it. This situation could pertain to the people of Maricopa County.
Right. Now, what Montgomery's done, I've asked him to isolate Maricopa County on one disc.
Yeah, I know why you did it. Figure something could be done here.
Sure, but I'm gonna, if I send you a letter,
Better go to Russia, you get more done in Russia.
if I get
wanna
some,
say that.
if I send a letter to you, and if you get, let's say you get a disc with all the stuff on it, just in Maricopa County, then you'd have to make a decision, right? Okay, do we open an investigation on this, or do we not?
Yeah. If we do, we're gonna use the Cold posse, Mike, and along with, I'm not sending an army out there on this shit.
Well,
Is this guy, I mean, can he talk? I mean, obviously, is he with it, Montgomery,
Oh, yeah.
at this point?
Can he travel? Can he come here?
he's willing to come here.
The only problem with coming here is does he have anything there in Seattle, or is,
But do you mean anything?
Yeah, I mean,
Evidence
hard
wise.
evidence,
It's
documentation.
all there.
so it would make more sense.
It's
Okay.
a shame that someone really in the government, someone doesn't look into this. I mean,
If somebody came to this office and said, hey, my name is John Smith, and I live out in Scottsdale, and I think I got evidence that somebody hacked into my bank account, would you investigate that?
We probably would, because we're a lot different than what everybody else around here, but it seems like we always, do the right thing and everyone else does the wrong
I'm
thing.
just an isolated example. Somebody comes in and says, hey, this guy did it, I've got the evidence here, would you start an investigation?
Yeah, but I think here's
probably give
here's
it
what
to
I
the
think
attorney
is,
general.
well, here's what I think. I mean, you know what, here's the thing, I work cases much differently than most people. There's a reason why I'm up here and I do these cases, is because my mind thinks, I kind of go forward and then work backwards. And if we were to take on a case of this size, it's going to be a lot of work, it's going to take a lot of time. And I'm not going to settle for anything else than it getting indicted somehow, some way, because that's just the way my mind thinks.
Me neither.
I'm not gonna do the case just to, do the case and that's it. That's not the way I operate. And that my mind thinks different. So like me, I'm always thinking, okay, how do I need to put this case together to make it a good case? And to do it that way, you need to make a lot of moving parts fit. Especially in a case where you're dealing with all this other stuff. Because at the end of the day, I can sit here and tell you, there's no doubt. What I learned down in Hawaii and what I've learned with Mike, there's no doubt that Barack Obama's birth certificate is not legit. The funny part is before that investigation, I didn't give a fuck who that guy was. I didn't care. Mm-hmm. But based on the evidence that I saw, his birth certificate isn't legit. It's not.
And here we
But here's the thing.
You got a guy named Brennan that probably altered it.
But here's the thing. You go into that investigation and it's the problem is people get lost with all these big names and all this other shit. If that was if that guy was blow shit the ragman, he would have been prosecuted for false birth fraud. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The only reason why he's not prosecuted for it is because he has everyone in Washington protecting him.
And he's got the national media.
Yeah, but with a story like this, I don't know. People are pissed off about
That's right, Brian.
People are pissed off about people stealing identities.
Yes.
bullshit.
Plus healthcare bullshit and people accessing this
Here he's talking
information.
to the sheriff. He didn't have the balls. He has to say I'm busy. There's no
Cameron?
There's no, yeah.
He doesn't want you. He's afraid you're going to stop his story. He's afraid you're going to come out tomorrow.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do that.
Yeah, he's afraid he's going to get scooped. He's asked me about 5 times. Now look, if you talk to Arpaio, don't let him scoop me.
Yeah, scoop me.
Should get
He ain't
up.
stupid.
Like anybody's gonna
Everyone knows. Everyone knows.
Brian, work this. I'm stuck on this immunity thing. Let me ask you something. If SO went over there to see this guy, talk to this guy, got all this guy's intel, and he's looking for some kind of immunity deal, but you can't promise an immunity deal because you got to look at all this information first and make sure.
Well, realistically, you have to treat him like a snitch.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing. Like he's the guy that he's not in jail, but okay, 2 people get in a shooting or whatever. Hey, I want to rat this other guy out. Realistically, that's what this guy. Hey, I'm ratting I was there. This is what happened, but this is the reason why it happened.
And they're going to go after you because of your domestic problem too. Think that you have a hard on, or I don't know, with the wife and all this. I don't know, all that other shit.
Why would they go after me?
Because of your problem with the.
Well, they're always going to say that you have an axe to grind because it's your ex-wife.
Of course they have.
But you know what? You know what? Rhetoric is easily, but content trumps rhetoric.
I understand that, and I'm just saying. Because that's one of the reasons why I asked you. Okay, who's this guy that comes in here that can throw his ex-wife $25 million? Because I am thinking about, okay, how's the story going to play out later? Okay, the sheriff's office sat down with this guy, and the only reason why he's doing this is because he has an axe to grind with his ex-wife.
Well, you're not the only one. I guess
No. I'm just saying that's the way I think. And it's better off that we cross those off as we go because it's a lot better.
I don't think the ex-wife's going to play on this because she's such a small fry. She had a contract with the government, but you're talking about such a bigger, broader picture of every county. Every sheriff in every county is getting victims in this country.
But no other sheriff's going to matter. No
That's
other
why I'm
sheriff's
here.
going to count.
Of course, the other thing with me, the sheriff is a kook. Now he's a bigger kook. Now he's going to have to.
Not with this though. Not with this stuff.
Well,
not with this.
If Fox News breaks it and it's a big deal, that paves your way.
So let's see what Fox does on this, and then if it generates some interest, and then we'll see what we can look at it.
Okay.
And then decide where to give it. About 5 years from now, we'll all be dead and buried. We don't get a bullet.
I sure hope I'm not dead and
So
buried in 5 years.
then we'll decide. That birth certificate pissed me off. But that's the government involved in that one. Hawaii and all that shit.
Sure.
Hawaii.
Well, Sheriff, this intel that he's got now with this kid taking a bullet, this could be why they're so smug about it, because they know the guy that did it's no longer around. That's why they don't give a shit.
Who did what?
The guy that
Killed-
made the
killed kid.
certificate, they killed the kid,
But see,
He did what?
made the certificate for him.
Where do you ever come up with that?
The guy was
He
gonna.
made the birth certificate?
you don't know if you
You
made
don't
it.
know
I
that.
don't know if you made
Go
it.
ahead.
You never knew who did the birth
No.
certificate.
Here's
what I'm
what we
saying.
know. Here's
What
what
I'm
we
saying.
now know for sure. We know Brennan, now CIA director, got fired by Bush, went to become the CEO of Analysis Group. Obama's campaign
Three
hired
doors
him.
down.
The birth certificate, way before you guys ever heard about the birth certificate, this birth certificate came out. Hillary Clinton was bitching about it. There was an investigation launched. They said, oh yeah, somebody got into the birth certificate records of all three candidates. An investigation subpoenaed the kid, and he's killed the night before. Brennan's now CIA director.
They would have hacked into the mainframes in the Department of Health in Hawaii. They would have accessed that number. This is why the number is all screwed up.
Hey Mike, you know how they did it? With the fucking hammer at Fort Washington.
That they accessed. That's what they did.
They used the hammer.
This is why they don't give a shit. This all makes sense to me now after everything we've been through. That's why they don't give a shit. This is why that attorney told us, well, you still got another, you still have a birth certificate. She knows that isn't the goddamn birth certificate, but she
Yeah.
can't come out.
Why
and
do you
say
think
it.
Well,
Obama would
that
put-
girl down in fucking Hawaii is clueless. She doesn't know anything.
Why would, so,
No, but she just knows that that
you
wasn't.
see, it makes
What?
sense, like a
The
jury
truth.
would make sense, because Brennan, his payoff is CIA director, they put him up for CIA, he gets rejected, then he gets 3 doors down in the White House, it's some kind of special.
So why didn't Congress get some balls and open the birth certificate and all this shit would tie in anyway? You know,
Because they're never going to touch that certificate. That's already signed
never
off
gonna-
with the Republicans that are in control of.
This kid was gonna go
All parties.
testify the next day, and they call it a random street killing in Washington DC.
Which isn't all that unusual.
And he was he apparently, I don't know this factually, but apparently he was really involved. He was worked for Brennan, computer guy, and had something to do with the changing of the birth certificate.
so your reporter is gonna call you when I'm not around,
Yeah.
and he's gonna talk to you about why you came to see me and all
I
that.
told him I was coming.
Well, but he's gonna wonder if I'm gonna call CNN or leak something out, you know, right?
Oh yeah, you could tell. He said,
You don't wanna talk to me, which is good, but at least he can mention for his story that it was brought to my attention and
he told me that
how
when
much
he
I
was,
can say.
he said that he
Not
was
gonna
gonna,
lie.
he said after he talked to Brennan and after he talked to Clapper, that he was gonna call you.
This guy?
Yeah.
He hasn't talked to Brennan or Clapper yet, right?
So that'll be the last thing he does.
And you know what they're going to say? They're going to tell him to go pound sand. They're not going to.
Oh,
They're not going to make any statements.
Are you kidding? They're gonna be calling the guy in England for
They
Christ.
don't even know already.
Yeah.
You know.
They already know what's going. They believe me. They already had the roundtable meeting saying these are the 15 different ways it can come at us. Hey, this is A, B, C, and D. Which way are we going to
They're
go?
gonna
with
tie
this?
this into a national security release unit.
Yeah.
It's all part of this.
They're gonna hide behind the Patriot Act.
Another chapter. No, the Fox is going to use the other guy, Snowden.
Snowden.
Oh, here's another example. Blah, blah, blah.
I disagree with you. I was there for the interview
Yeah.
with Carl, with the guy, and Carl goes right into this, Snowden said this, but said this is what Snowden didn't have. And he really launched into that, because Snowden released some documents, but Montgomery was on the inside as the computer guy. Snowden was like a lightweight guy that copied shit. So, I appreciate you guys getting together. Why don't we see when I'll know when the Fox piece airs, so you guys can all watch it. And if it gets a lot of traction, they'll pick Montgomery up like that. The feds will come in and pick him up. I think.
Because he's going to burn Montgomery.
Well,
Montgomery's going to burn himself.
Montgomery
He goes
went
on Fox.
He's going on Fox saying, I did all this, and Clapper and Brennan and Salvatore, and here's the names.
Who's the Italian guy? What's his name?
Salvatore, there's
it?
two guys, Liberatore and
Yeah, where's
Salvatore.
Liberatore? Who's he?
Joe Liberatore, CIA.
Because my buddy is Liberatore, Orange County, keeps running for Congress. He gets beat all the time. He owns a big CPA firm. No relation, Liberatore?
I don't have any clue. There's quite a few Liberatores around.
Yeah.
But those are the guys, the direct guys at Fort Washington, where we got 100 emails. And they talk about Clapper and Brennan and the hammer and the data mining. If we ever get caught, this will be illegal, they say in one of the emails.
So is the CIA laying groundwork with it? They got information, the cartels are after me? Are they trying to
Do they sent that to you?
Huh?
Yeah, you know what, I don't know.
you ever think of that?
I didn't think of that.
Huh?
I didn't think of that.
Because they sure know who you and I are. I'm sure our name is somewhere.
Well,
in
my
this
name's
shit.
Brandon Jones.
Huh?
I'm Brandon Jones.
I gotta be in there somewhere.
You're gonna be in there.
What?
You have to be in
I'm
there.
calling
This is
Montgomery.
legit.
I'm calling Montgomery to see if he's found your name yet.
Your call cannot be completed as dialed. Please.
That's bullshit. Oh, I see what's wrong.
Where do you currently live?
I live summertimes in Seattle area,
Seattle.
and then Mexico most of the winter.
Oh, my favorite country. They know who I am down there?
Do you know what? At least in Mexico, you know the rules.
I worked there.
No.
You don't? You're coming to, hold on a minute. You're coming to me and not even knowing my background? I thought you were coming
I'm not
to
a
me
biographer.
because
How
I'm
the
an
fuck
expert.
would I know that?
I thought you were coming to me because I'm an expert with the CIA and all that shit. You didn't know my background?
No,
What's this shit?
were you a fisherman down there or something? What was the deal?
You better tell that reporter my background.
You tell it. I don't know your background. I know you've been a sheriff for 50 years. That's all I
What the
know.
hell's that got to being a little old sheriff? That doesn't mean shit.
He was the director.
I was a
of
director
all of
in Mexico
Mexico.
City in
the
South
DEA.
America, worked with Noriega
For what?
for the U.S. Drug Enforcement,
I
DEA,
didn't know that.
in Turkey, in the Middle East. You see my diplomatic passport there? Do you ever look at my goddamn wall with
It's the first time I've been in your office. How can I look at your
You
wall?
see Obama all over it? See my picture with
My
Obama
back's
there?
to the pictures,
Well,
Joe.
why do you look at the goddamn thing here? You don't even know my background. Watergate, see all the letters from the Attorney General and all that shit? You think I don't know how the CIA operates? Huh? You're not talking to a sheriff.
Then I'm coming to the right guy.
You're talking to the ex-federal guy.
Then I'm coming to the right
30
guy.
years, ex-federal guy that knows more about Watergate than the Watergate knows about, okay?
So do you think that gives you an advantage, or?
I think if someone ever says my background, like your Fox reporter, it might give me a little credibility than being a little hick-town sheriff who, what the hell is he looking at this shit for? I think it would make a little difference on my background, don't you?
Well, I think it should
See,
be
I know
told.
what CIA stands for. Most sheriffs wouldn't even know what the hell it means.
I think when you talk to Carl,
Jesus Christ. You didn't tell my background.
I didn't have that discussion with him.
Why? Am I undercover now?
No, he knows you from 2 years ago.
What an insult. And you're in Mexico, and where you down with the ocean down there?
yeah,
Huh?
yeah,
You got a nice villa?
I do.
No, I would imagine it has marble floors. That's what I had. Mexico City.
And Las Pinas.
Yeah. Are you got a good view? You have the maids?
Sure. Let me look here.
Did you ever tell anybody from Arizona? You know Arizona?
No, I don't know Arizona.
I mean, did you ever tell anybody, like the janitor or something, that you? Yeah, I told you. I know.
All right.
Let me see the end of your porch here. Now I do know that's not fake. The ocean. Anybody could take this picture.
Yeah, they could.
Is that yours?
Yeah.
Not a bad view. You got a double shot here. Is this your house or your
Yeah.
rent?
House.
You own it?
Yeah.
Shit, this is a good place to go to get away.
It's got big gates, so they come in.
Where about in Mexico?
Beautiful.
Cabo.
Oh, you're down in Cabo.
Yeah.
You see,
Love that. I've been there 25 times.
yeah, see the beautiful.
Where?
Palmilla.
Oh no, I used to go down there all the time.
That's Palmilla.
Yeah, yeah.
That's Brandon.
I know exactly where it is. I used to stay over at. I used to stay at the Finisterre all the time, and then
Oh yeah.
I stayed at the Rose.
Goes everywhere. You know why he asked for Seattle about that? He wants to get on a plane and go to Seattle now.
Seattle's not a great place.
You want to go to Seattle?
Sure, it's not a
Anywhere he
great
goes.
place.
That's all he does, travel.
He just wants to go on the county
great.
line.
Yeah, that's me, you know me.
All right, buddy, since you've now been bragging about the shit on your wall, would you mind standing up and I'll take a picture from my file with you pointing to your stuff? You mind?
I'm not pointing at the president.
I didn't say that stuff.
Come on.
Okay, let's take a picture of,
Set up right, yeah.
the general here.
All right,
Blast
here we
in
go.
general.
This proves